Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we jump into Hack the Box for the first time ever, and I am stoked. I'm Alex, I'm an information security geek and a hacker, and on this channel we look at how we can be more productive, more knowledgeable, and overall happier hackers. And I don't know how you can be a happier hacker than just completely geeking out with Hack the Box. I'm so excited. We're a little bit closer now. You're on my desk on a tripod, which is super weird, but we're a little bit more close. I have another mic I'm gonna be able to use, and let's just dive on in. So I'm looking at the page right now. I'm gonna go ahead and join now. Oh, that's weird. So instead of like a login or a sign up, you get like an invite challenge you have to solve in order to, I guess, make an account. And actually, as I'm looking at this, I'm not sure if this is one of the things you're not supposed to tell people about. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to solve this. I'm going to make an account. I'm going to upgrade it to Pro Plus so I can start messing around with the retired boxes. And then I'll start the camera back up. All right, I'm back. All I did was I solved the initial challenge. I upgraded to Pro Plus, and then I added two-factor to my account. And this is the screen I am looking at now. There's a lot here. There's like pwn boxes, and apparently I get access to that since I bought it. There's VPN connections, challenges, pro labs. A lot of people. This is amazing that this is this big of a resource where 1,200 people are online right now, especially in Eastern United States where it's like 10:30 right now. At night. So that's kind of nuts. That's really cool though. There's a pretty big community. It looks like the challenges don't require a VPN. So I'm going to jump into one of those and we'll give it a try live on the camera, and I'm not sure where it's going. So as much as I want to jump into the active ones, I'm not allowed to. I have access to the retired ones. And since I am noob status, I should probably start with an easy one because it would be pretty embarrassing to be doing one on video. I like Alice in Wonderland. I named my daughter Alice because of Alice in Wonderland. So I should probably start with Looking Glass. Oh, they give you like a Docker image to log into, it looks like. So if I just punch that in, am I going to get something? I am. This Looking Glass provides you with information relative to a backbone routing and network efficiency, providing you a train spell, blah, 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 blah. Ping server 1. I'm guessing this is OS injection or OS command injection, just based off of ping server 1 and an IP address. So I click test. I'm going to increase this so everyone can see it. Yeah, that if this is just shooting output, I'm guessing what happens if I just do like 1 because I don't want to wait for 4 packets to go. Is it going to let that go through? Nope. Oh, nope. It totally did. It totally just did 1, so it's straightforward packet injection. If I do C1, it's only going to do 1 packet instead of 4 packets. So all I would have to do is and ls and see where I am and what happens. I think this would be faster. Yeah, index. Let's see. Do ls do. Well, if you go up a directory. At this point, if I was like coming against this in a challenge like a DEF CON or a Hack Fortress challenge, I would just be spinning up burp and running this a gazillion commands on this. But since this is probably a little bit more strategic, flag. I'm guessing that's it. So at this point, I can just cat do flag, and then we'll wait and we'll have lovely conversations. I love challenges like this. This is just so cool. We designed so many of these for DEF CON Darknet, and it's so cool to be able to experience them. And here it is right here. I'm guessing I grab that, I go back. and I copy it in there. I would say this was a piece of cake. It looks like that's what everyone else did. And I'll go ahead and submit that. So I got my first flag on HackTheBox. That's so cool. Like okay, I know it's an easy challenge. But that's really cool. Like I got my first one on there. So as I was editing this video, I noticed that when I got to the command injection, I kind of just like solved it and not really spoke about it too much. So I want to talk about a little bit how I noticed it, how I knew it was command injection, and then a few interview questions that I've actually heard that companies do when it comes to command injection, which as I talked about in my interview video, it's not really a great way of asking questions during an interview, mainly because it's not accurate. Like I don't necessarily have to know syntax to a billion different commands on how to do certain things in order to be a good tester. What makes you a good tester is being able to research quickly, understand it, comprehend it, and then know enough on where the weaknesses should be. So I went ahead and reopened the page so we can talk about this a little bit more. The reason why I thought this was OS command injection immediately was actually this output. Right after I ran it, this output says to me it's not a PHP or JavaScript or a specific implementation that runs in the browser. While it could be, this output really matches what you would expect in a terminal, especially when they go ping, trace route, server one. Let's go ahead and put local host in here. And the thing that truly made me know it was command injection is when I could manipulate the command. Because if this was written correctly, this field would only allow numbers and periods. It wouldn't allow things like flag switches or ampersands or anything else. And the fact that I put C1 in there, 127.0.0.1, switch 1, it says I only want to do one ping, but let's say 2 pings, and you see this right now, 1 packet received, 1 packet lost. I do 2, and all of a sudden, it's doing it twice. Now, the question you might get during an interview, and I'm sorry if any interview I've ever asked this, and if I ever asked it during an interview, I'm sorry, because it's silly, but what you're going to be asked is, can you do 2 commands where the second one runs regardless if the first one's a failure or not? And the way you do that, I'm going to continue doing 127.0.0.1, command 1. If I keep looking down at my keyboard, I'm using a different keyboard so it doesn't make as much noise in the mic, and it's a little wonky to write on. So you can do something like and ls. And what this does is the second command will only run if the first one is successful. So in this case, when I hit enter, we should see the ping and then the ls runs. And it's only going to run because the first command was successful. So if we make the first command fail, and we'll do that by, perfect. We can put a B.1, C1, and do 2 ampersands and make an ls. This is going to fail. And the reason it fails, the ls doesn't run, is because of the double ampersand. First one runs, it fails to run, meaning the second command won't run. This typically you're only going to do if you're doing like a command string where there's no point running the later things unless the first one's successful. And you'll notice we don't get any output back. So let's now do the next one. So we're going to do another ping. But this time we want the second command to run regardless of if the first one fails or not. And for that, we just use a semicolon. So we can we'll make sure that the first one fails just to show that this works. But a B there, we'll do ls, enter. And you'll notice that ls actually runs even though the first one failed. It seems that the failure on this one takes a little bit, so I will entertain you with some hold music. I don't really know any hold music, but what you notice here is that this one ran even though the first one failed, which can be definitely useful, especially if you're doing like a really complicated SQL injection where you are doing it like a layer on top of layer where you know the first one's going to fail and you want to run regardless. The last one I want to show you is how do you make, and actually we'll do this one more time actually because it would make sense that since we just showed the failure, we'll show the success on this one just to make sure it runs. In this case, again, it runs regardless of the first one. So what we covered is semicolon runs the second command just sequentially, regardless of how the first one runs. 2 ampersands makes it so the second one only runs if the first one's successful. The third one is we only want to run it if the first one fails. So in this case, I'm going to just copy and paste this because this keyboard is a little wonky for me. There we go. So we only want to run the second command if the first one fails. So in this case, we do 2 pipes. And what happens here is instead of 1 pipe, which redirects that output, the second pipe is bash, which essentially says what we're doing. If the first one fails, go run this. So this one's not going to run the second command because the first one's going to succeed. So test runs, no ls. Do this again. But this time we're going to put a letter in here so it fails, which means the only output we should get then is the ls. In this case, we wait again, it's going to fail in the ls. So these are really like edge cases of when you would need to run the second command regardless of how the first one performs. But it gets asked, unfortunately. And again, go check out my interview video. I'll link it at the end, or I'll link it in a card right here so that you can go check it out. And we can see that it ran because the first one failed. So as I said, the dead giveaways is the output, that the output looks here. But if there was another piece, like this is where that failure and those ampersands start coming in. If there's another piece you need to terminate, like if there's a second command that gets run, you could add an ampersand. And we can also string these together like ls, 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 and just have it run command after command after command. And it's going to fail because I don't know why that IP address is not picking up. It must be when it must not be responding in ICMP, even though that is localhost. But that's where it becomes handy. Yeah, ls, ls, ls. I don't think the third one ran because I didn't have a semicolon at the end. But hopefully that clears it up. That kind of goes into my methodology, or at least my understanding of why I thought this was OS command injection. At a certain point, you start getting the feel of these things. And I always want to make sure I'm describing what I'm doing as I go. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I had a blast doing Hack the Box, as simple as this one was. I'm super excited to try more of them, so I'm hoping I'll do another one and I'll upload it soon. Thanks for joining, and if you had interest or maybe had questions of me doing more of these, please go ahead, leave a comment. If you'd rather have this be a shorter video where I just show how I did it, feel free to leave me a comment and I'll take all the notes I can. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I hope you enjoy hacking the box.